in a sort of traditional talk-back kind of way, and we opted to share with you a little bit of our process, because often in a talk-back somebody inevitably asks a question about, can you tell us a bit about your process? And so we're going to show you a bit of our process and invite you into our art-based research, our way of finding the stories that give life to this play. We're going to do it through a method called playback theater that some of you might be familiar with. So we're going to ask you, right off the top, anybody who's willing to share a response that you have to what you experienced in witnessing the play tonight. Yes, Heidi. Relief. Say a little more.
Seeing and hearing so many different thoughts that I've had being placed out in front of me, and knowing that it's not just me and that they're from everybody's point of view, but like all of these different thoughts that I have seeing somebody else have too.
Heidi's sense of relief in seeing herself reflected as a fluid sculpture. Let's watch.
Oh my God, I have said that.
Oh,
I have said
oh, me too.
Oh my God, I
So
said
glad.
that.
Oh, me too.
Yikes. I'm so glad I'm
Me too.
not the only one.
Me
So
too.
glad I'm not the only one.
Me too.
Thank you. Did that speak to a piece of your experience?
Fabulous.
Someone else. Yes, please go ahead.
So, for me, it's all the laughing. You know, thank goodness everyone's laughing because we all need to laugh. And the laughter was part of the release and part of the relief and part of the community.
The laughter as a carousel. Let's watch.
I'm white. Is it supposed to be funny?
Oh my God. We're laughing about this. We're laughing about race. We're playing the race. We're laughing with race. We're playing. We're laughing.
That's pretty cool. This is part of the community.
This is cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Look, the whole community is doing this right now. We are all laughing right now.
That's good.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes.
I really enjoyed that, the white race acknowledging the shame. The white race, the shame.
Can I ask you your name?
Shanti.
Shanti. Okay. Appreciating the naming of the shame. Can we see this as a fluid sculpture? Let's watch.
Okay. All right. Let's take it out. There it is. There it is.
Should I help you?
It's right here. The middle of the room.
This looks really intense.
There
I
it
feel
is.
bad. Should I help you? I feel really bad.
There it is.
Maybe I should help. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
There it
I'm
is.
so bad.
Yep. There it is.
Shanti, did that speak to some piece of your experience?
A little bit.
What else is there? What didn't you see, or could you say a little bit more?
Well, I noticed, me personally, I don't notice I have white shame until I'm with non-white, and then all of a sudden I feel, I really appreciate that. I feel like I want to disappear. It's like I'm the enemy, I'm the oppressor. And so I really felt that during the piece.
Yes.
conversation where you don't see blame, you don't see burden, you don't see, you know, because as a black person you feel like it's a burden, like I gotta make these white people feel like it's not their fault, you know. So where she's feeling shame, I'm feeling that, and I thought, what a great way to dispel all of this so that the conversation really can take place. Because there's so many conversations where it's not really taken in, it's not really heard, because we're not listening, we're sitting there trying to figure out how we can remove ourselves.
A little bit like, we gave some thought, we were trying to think about what are the conditions that allow people to come into presence with this topic, rather than disappearing into absence.
Exactly.
So let's see some of, can I ask your name?
Oh, I'm Tammy.
Tammy. Let's see some of Tammy's experience as a fluid sculpture. Let's watch.
It's okay, no one's gonna get hurt. It's gonna be okay. No one's gonna get hurt. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. No one's gonna get hurt. We're gonna be fine. It's okay. No one's gonna get hurt. We're all here together.
Hi-ya!
No one's gonna get hurt.
Hi-ya!
No one's gonna get hurt. It's gonna be fine.
Hi-ya!
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
This is new.
Hi-ya!
No one's gonna get hurt.
This is
It's gonna be
new.
okay.
Hi-ya!
No one's gonna get hurt.
This is new.
It's gonna be okay.
Thank you. Tammy, would you like to say anything more about your experience?
No, I think that was great. It's just so interesting to me. The one piece that really resonated with me was when Britton and Amber were talking about, you know, they always look to you to be the expert. And we don't all think alike. Our life experiences are all different. There certainly are some commonalities as there are with any cultural piece, but for the most part, people think differently no matter what color, religion, ethnicity, whatever. And yet, in my era, growing up, we always were on Front Street because you knew if you messed up, you were messing up for all black people in America. And I can even remember as a kid, like watching Johnny Carson and some black person would get on and act stupid. And I don't care if I was by myself in the room, I was like, oh my God! You know, there goes a bell, they're all gonna get blamed for this one. And so, you know, we come up with a lot of baggage. And it's sure nice to see this method. I hope it continues because this will make a huge difference.
Thank you. Let's take a couple more this way, and then we're going to continue in a more traditional talk back style.
I really loved seeing the progression of it. For those of us that were in the art-based research class, we saw the first draft, if you will. And I loved watching how it went from your own personal stories to the conversation as a whole, and being able to see still the threads of things that you believe in as the five of you that expand into this conversation, which makes it so wholly universal, but also individual. It was really comforting to see that there's a space for all of us, and there's also a space for me and you.
So Rachel's speaking to the evolution of this piece, and I'm going to ask you actually to use the technique of flocking to show us your process, the evolution of this piece. All right? Let's watch.
Okay, so somebody tell a story or something. Somebody tell a story. I don't know. We'll tell a story. Quote something. I don't know.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
there were apes. And then there were humans.
Oh, humans. Yeah.
And then the white man.
White.
And his white privilege.
Oh, there he is.
But you know, these black people and Jewish people came along. And we're all here now.
play with grace. Are you ready? Are we ready? Are we ready to play with grace? Okay.
Was that it?
I mean, that's what it was like for us.
That's
Thank you. Just knowing a little bit about how hard this group worked. So many pieces to that process. Absolutely, it's come along. Rachel, you're saying first draft, second draft, third draft, and it keeps growing. Another response. Yes.
For me, it's definitely the acknowledgement of the time. Because oftentimes I've held like topics on this in my workplace, etc. And I always felt like somebody are trying to pull teeth from some people that talk. And I was kind of just like, okay, seeing the images on the screen about some of the animation films and stuff, I'm like, okay, it's not me. I'm not paranoid. This is the same shit I was laughing at for years. And just the acknowledgement of everybody sharing their stories, and they're not being shamed from the white counterparts on the stage, because oftentimes you're like, damn, I know for me, man, I hope Sandy doesn't feel offended by me saying this or something, but it's just the acknowledgement of everybody's experiences.
I'm going to ask us to see this one as a pair. On one side, that sort of relief and that celebration of the acknowledgement of people's experiences, and on the other hand, that sort of trepidation that's sort of held in reserve for, are they going to be shamed again? Or can the stage be shared? That tension, even though you didn't speak of it being here tonight, you felt it before.
Oh, it's birth.
Absolutely. So we're going to see that as a pair. All right? Let's watch.
We're gonna go this way, and we're gonna have such a good time, and we're gonna talk about race, and we're gonna really hit
maybe
the
we
hot
should go
topic.
this way though, because sometimes it gets a little scary. It gets a little, I don't
But
want
it's
to offend
okay.
people.
It's gonna be fine. It's like going to the dentist. Easy peasy.
Yeah, but the dentist, it's hard to get those teeth out sometimes. You gotta really pull.
Yeah, we're gonna pull it out.
Oh, but then it hurts sometimes. It hurts.
I suppose.
I don't want to hurt your feelings, but okay.
Okay,
Talking about those things.
Maybe
They're-
if I
they're-
say it.
No, they're talking about those things in the videos. Oh my god, the videos. This shit has been happening. And somebody's finally just bringing it all together. And everyone's
I know what I'm
okay, then.
What do you know?
Great. It's really great.
Thank you. I'm going to ask our team to take it. And I'm going to steal it.
Here, I'm on the edge.
Wait, John.
Oh, then come sit here. Thank you.
Sit down.
Great. So let's leave a little bit of time in case the conversation can continue this way. If there are comments or questions that the audience might have for this group here who's written and performed this piece, or to continue some of the story sharing.
I would love
Maybe
to.
if you could introduce yourself to our community, that's fine.
Hi, I'm Adam Reynolds. Hey, I really enjoyed it. I was really curious to hear from the perspective of the director or the actor sort of about like the performance and the aesthetic value, like what it felt like to perform in this context, because what was one of the most exciting things for me was addressing this question through theater. That often, that you guys talked a lot about the conversations that drama therapists have about this topic, and I said, oh, well, anybody can have a conversation or can try to. But I really felt like in this moment, like we're turning our skills as drama therapists to find a way to dramatically and theatrically assess it. And I just wondered, as performers, as therapists, like what did it feel like? What were your experiences in the performance of it?
I know I can say that, like, in Dana's monologue, first we're just like talking about it, and some of what you heard was actually said. But once we were able to do the playback and find our own stories, it really moved along faster. Before we had these really cool, like, concepts, like court and jury and the bailiff and just all of it, and it sounded really cool, but we couldn't get it on its feet, and that was a problem. So then, I think once we started using the tools that we use with our clients, with us, it really took off from there.
Yeah, it's like they were cool concepts, but they were just being pulled out of the air with no sort of emotional attachment or personal experience from it. So yeah, that was sort of like for me also, the thing that sort of like got us rolling and finally producing material that felt more grounded in our actual experience.
I think even beyond the performance, we all are much more free in playing with race, with each other and other people, even if they don't want to. And what's great about that is it's very free, you know, and we call stuff out. We're like, that's racist. You know, like, it's not that uncomfortable, like, should I say something? I feel offended. Just, like, we can call it out now, and we're much more free, I think.
I also think, just in thinking about our process when we were talking a lot, you know, one thing we talked about, a concept of like loops, things that get repeated over and over, and this conversation is a conversation that, like Robert said in the beginning, people are having it, but it repeats itself sometimes in a very familiar way. And I feel like for me, and I think other people would agree, that where we got the most fire was when we started telling our own stories, because now people are like, you know, when I was, and like you're like, and I'm like, what? You know, like, and it's like, or like that happened to me too, like, or and we found differences, but we also found overlap, which was really cool, because that is something that can also bridge this conversation, are the overlaps. And a lot of times I feel in the conversation it's very divisive, and I love about this piece the overlaps.
And just thinking about using theater and this conversation of race, there are so many layers to theater performance and so many layers to race. And each time we're performing this, we see something new. Like, and it goes deeper. Or even when you come to staging it, like, I am the white man and I had the last word in this performance. Like, it's things like that when we're thinking aesthetically about how to piece this together, that comes up when we're just playing with it, that I think is missed when we're just talking about it.
Yeah, and playing with the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Sort of like, it's like we can take this incredibly personal material, we can set that right next to playing with the stereotypes, and, you know, as a way of sort of loosening it up a bit.
I think what I